over 60% of its population under 25 and unemployment hovering around 6.5%, Nigeria is under economic and social pressure. Inflation, weak education outcomes, and rising security threats compound the challenges. As governments worldwide treat AI as a strategic asset, Nigeria's new National AI Strategy and Data Protection Act aims to harness technology to boost jobs, improve education, strengthen security, and drive growth if implemented carefully. Joining me to discuss this is Fiyinfolu Awotoye, an AI researcher and data management specialist. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Joanna.
Yes.
Thanks for the invitation.
And I mean, let's start national. Nigeria, they say we are just turning the corner economically. We have a very young, vibrant population who are being dropped in the labor market, in the job market. Opportunities are not meeting the number that are coming in. And then we are talking about artificial intelligence. How do we manage this conversation, and what opportunities and perhaps even threats does artificial intelligence pose?
Well, I see more of opportunities. I see more of opportunities than threats. I know we have a large young population and people just coming out. However, the good thing rather is that these people are very smart, and the more we make use of their smartness, the better. So I see the opportunities. I don't see threats, but I believe if we can harness their collective abilities, then we will drastically improve the productivity of the country, and in that way, it will no doubt have an impact on our GDP.
Indeed, and there's a lot of talk around this new National AI Strategy Data Protection Act. What are the highlights from it for you that you see having a real impact on Nigeria?
I believe if you look at it, it first identifies a lot of the problems, and it also provides solutions. And if one of the big things for me is the fact that we are now looking at a unified digital infrastructure, especially for the government. So that puts us in a better position instead of having each ministry with their own set of spreadsheets that might take us weeks and years to collect accurate reports. You know, with a unified infrastructure, it becomes easier to see everything from from one 10,000 foot view, and it then makes decisions faster and better.
Right. And Nigeria, they say, we often hear it said in conversations that we have weak institutions, from education to security. Security is a big conversation now, and that perhaps we have weak systems. And is there anything artificial intelligence, or a way artificial intelligence can feed into that to improve and strengthen our systems, whether from the angle of education or security? What are some of the weaknesses we have there?
Yeah, we definitely can make use of artificial intelligence, and I believe execution of our policies is going to be the main driver, in the sense that, yes, we do have policies that are beautifully crafted, but if we don't execute them correctly, artificial intelligence cannot help us execute them correctly. So we have to be ready to execute. And when I say be ready, let me give an example. We talk about security in the system. If we have a surveillance system that captures data from different sectors, and it's able to project or tell the security forces the next possible attack will happen next week at this place, are we actually willing to be proactive? So rather than focusing a lot on technology, sometimes we need to also focus on our processes, because technology will only expand our processes.
Right. Yeah. I think that's an interesting angle to it. It only expands or amplifies what we already have on
and
ground.
what we're ready to do.
Right. And we know that there are some organizations, and in boardrooms the conversation is how can we incorporate AI, because it's more futuristic, it's forward thinking. When you say it sounds like, yes, this company is forward thinking, but they just have that AI pilot running. Perhaps it may not be having any real impact. How can they actually beyond just being able to say, oh, we're incorporating it into our systems, have it really make a difference in organizations?
Yeah, good point. So AI can make a difference if you're really ready for it. So a lot of organizations just jump into AI because it's the new shiny tool in town and it's the next buzzword, and you want your customers to know we are moving forward, we have AI, and we just jump on one AI project without being ready. So I think the first thing is do detailed readiness assessment, especially from a data perspective. Do we have the data we need for AI, and do we have the right culture? If we don't have the right data, AI can't do anything for us. And if we feel we have the right data, then the next thing we want to think about is how do we identify the big pain points, the routine tasks that AI can resolve. And in that way, we can sort of start with the easiest things. Let's just start small. And when we start small, we can then, of course, improve over time and get bigger, get better. So those are some quick things that comes to mind that any organization can jump on today. And of course, when we talk of skilling, most organizations, let's be fair to the tech department or the different departments in the organizations, they have work to do. They have their day-to-day work. So some of them don't do AI full-time. So working with some of these AI startups or these AI guys will go a long way to help them figure out their path in this journey.
And I'd like us to go a little practical, right? And especially from the angle of how it is being received by customers and consumers. For example, we are a media house, right? We have had competitors try to incorporate AI into their systems, perhaps with an AI basically reading the news. And we saw the reception wasn't all that. Sometimes even when it comes to research, it does help, but when it comes to it interfacing directly with the customers, we sometimes see their reactions. Recently, there was an advert that one of these big eateries, international, made with artificial intelligence, and there was just a big pushback from people. So looking at from the reception end, how is artificial intelligence being received by consumers, and how can companies incorporate it in a way that will be somewhat acceptable, because the business still matters. You want to keep your audience.
Yeah, very good, interesting point. So it's natural that if I call News Central, your organization, I'd rather want to talk to a human being than to talk to a bot or something like that. So it's natural people want to relate with human beings because people are already used to relating with human beings. So that will always come. But how the organizations present these AI solutions matters. So let's say customer, let's just keep it at customer services, for instance. If I know I have long wait times on my customer service call, and sometimes we have a lot of dropped calls that we were not able to attend to because of this, then you could have, some AI bots that respond to customers and that solve some basic problems. So for instance, it's a bank, you want to check your balance, you can check it on the app. The AI can ask you for your login details, you say them or you key them in, and it logs into your account, tells you your balance, tells you the last transaction. AI can do all of those things. Now, what if we consider presenting an option to the customer to say, hey, you have a 45-minute wait time, but I can help you do basic things like checking your account balance, this and that. So some people won't want to wait for 45 minutes. They would rather be like, okay, you know what, AI just helped me. And that's how people start getting used to AI, because it's helping them become faster. So if you let the customer know that, yes, there might be a human that will talk to you, but you just have to wait, but AI can answer you now, then it's in a nutshell, the way we present AI to the customers determines how they will accept or reject.
So giving them that option than forcing it on them.
Than forcing it on them, at least for a start. But I believe that the generation coming behind us, maybe 1 or 2 generations coming behind us, will have no option But
people still want the human experience.
That's because you're used to it. If you pick the children of nowadays, some of them prefer to text you from the room than coming to talk to you. And, you know, I was reading a case where they were like, okay, they wanted to do a pilot commercial flight that will run on AI, even though the pilots will sit there. And we sat down having these conversations, and some people were like, oh, I won't fly it, I won't fly. And we ended up with the fact that the generations coming behind us who have not, maybe a child born today, who has never had the experience of flying on a plane with a human pilot, will likely not see anything wrong with an AI pilot, because that's what they grew up to and that's what they used to. So gradually it's going to permeate our society.
Okay. We'll get deeper into this conversation on the challenges and opportunities with artificial intelligence with Fiyinfolu Awotoye, AI research and data management specialist. Stay with us. Everybody's talking about incorporating artificial intelligence. We have Fiyinfolu Awotoye, AI research and data management specialist, with us in the studio, and he's sharing, especially giving it some of the local context and adoption of AI, how it can strengthen some of our institutions, education. We've touched on security. We've even touched on media briefly. But we know with adoption, there's a skill around it. There's a cost around it. How do organizations begin to navigate that?
Yeah, good point. So yes, there is a cost that comes with it, and of course the cost right now is high because those who are skilled in deploying AI solutions are few. So this is more of demand and supply. Organizations can sort of backfill existing roles so that people within the organization will have time to upskill, right? And when they upskill, they can sort of when they upskill, they can, what's the word now? I just forgot. They can now work on the AI project. So that way, AI can really help in doing something better for the organization. Sorry, I lost a chain of thoughts there.
Yes. So there's so much AI can do, obviously, from what you said, for organizations. We know that startups seem to be closest to the realities of consumer communities. What role should they play in shaping locally grounded AI solutions that you think will really serve Nigeria?
Yeah, so startups are what I would call the front line of AI, adoption within the organizations. And I will say to organizations, hey, you want to deploy AI, you are good at your business, but you might not be that good in AI. But there are this set of guys who do AI day in, day out. So working with them as collaborators, not seeing AI guys as vendors. Work with them as people you're collaborating with to deploy your AI project. That will give you more value. And in some scenarios, you could even partner with AI vendors to build solutions that can be repackaged for the market, for the industry. So for instance, we talk about media. You could figure out a media use case, which I probably can't think of right now, work with an AI startup to build that use case for yourselves, test it, you find out it works well, then, of course, you contributed to the AI solution or product. You brought in your professional knowledge. So you can also own a part of that solution as it goes out to the market as a white label solution. And then other media houses can buy it. So organizations can start working in partnership with AI organizations, or AI startups rather, to get this deployed.
Yes, and we're looking at, obviously it's a teething stage somewhat, especially locally. And we know there needs to be some sort of structure built around it from a policy standpoint, from a government standpoint. What is your assessment of what is being done in that regard, the accountability, the investments in that locally?
So right now, locally, the way I see it, most organizations, or let me look at government organizations, are doing AI in silos. So everybody is doing their own thing right now. But I've seen scenarios where some government organizations can have maybe a shared AI service or a shared AI department. So a ministry, 2, 3, 4, 5 ministries, instead of each ministry having their own AI team that might not be too well baked, the 5 ministries will have one solid AI team that will be well baked and that will support all the ministries in their AI journey. And now if we scale this up across different sectors of the economy, what we will have is we will be able to avoid repetition. So a ministry has already deployed something for their finance and budgeting, for instance. Another ministry is not just going to start from scratch on that same thing because they have a shared AI service. And so this shared AI service can just pick what was done for these guys, make the relevant modifications, and deploy for another ministry. Right. So that will help us cut waste, and it will help us manage, the little funds we have, and of course stretch it so that we are able to deliver more. So those are just simple tactics that can be implemented.
So there's a lot of partnership that needs to go into that.
A lot of partnership, yeah.
And we know that artificial intelligence feeds on data.
Yeah.
Data centers are mostly, especially within the continent, it's been pointed out that South Africa.
Yeah.
What can we do long term to bring them closer to home and see more data centers?
Good. Okay, so in looking at that, I'll look at it from 2 different perspectives. One is the fact that the data centers in South Africa are there for 2 reasons. The hyperscalers, when they're trying to set up, of course, they look at stability, financial stability, they look at political stability of the countries. And I would say Nigeria and South Africa are on somewhat similar levels because they too have their own share of social issues. And if we look at temperature, average temperatures, South Africa is cooler. And data centers, the operating cost of running a data center is high when you need to spend a lot on cooling. So the cooling aspect makes South Africa more attractive. And most of them might think, okay, Nigeria and South Africa are somewhat comparable, even though South Africa is ahead a little bit. But South Africa, we don't have to spend that much on cooling like we will spend here. So that gives them the edge. However, the good thing is that right now there are research going on where organizations are now using coolants to cool data center, and they are using water to cool data centers. Just the way you have your cars. You had the old Volkswagen Beetle that was being cooled by air, and then we moved on to water cooling, and then the bigger engines now use coolants. So that same thing is being replicated in data centers. So if we want to build data centers in Nigeria that will be able to run AI workloads, then we need to consider those that will be cooled using coolants. And that it might come up with a very high capital expense, but the long-term operating cost will be reduced. And then the government can come up with some policies that will force the hyperscalers to work with our local data centers. So for example, a policy requiring all military data sitting on a data center in Nigeria, a policy requiring, say, all FSI financial service industry, including banks and healthcare data.